We will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars. Donald Trump said on Monday in his second inaugural address, and I wish Sean Ferris were here to read that line in Trump's voice. I just can't do it. But the point is this: words matter, and those words in a very impressive speech matter more to me than any of the others. Hey everybody, I'm Steve Green with Bill Whittle and Scott Ott. This is Right Angle, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. Gentlemen, make no mistakes. SpaceX is going to Mars with or without the help of the United States government or the approval of President Trump. That's what the company was founded to do. That's its mission. They've got the money. They're developing the technology. It's going to happen. But Bill, I maintain that when Donald Trump says we are going to plant the stars and stripes on planet Mars, that elevates things, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, absolutely it does. And, there was so much remarkable rhetoric in Donald Trump's speech that it actually almost rewired the way I think about the country and sort of retro wires me back to the way I used to think about the country. Great civilizations require vision, and you may remember when George H.W. Bush was running after Reagan's second term. They said, well, what is it that Bush is missing that Reagan had? And it was the vision thing. Remember the vision thing is what George. Oh, it's because of the vision thing. Yeah, it is the vision thing. We haven't had a vision thing in a long time. The progressive vision is a regressive future. The progressive vision is a vision of less and less and less and less and less. And to have the President of the United States say that he actually used the term manifest destiny in that speech, which just astonished me.
Yeah.
But an ambitious people have to have a vision, Steve. And I don't mean an individual vision. The country needs a vision. It needs a vision for what it's going to be, and it needs somebody who can elucidate what that vision is. And he did a superb job of it. This idea of a golden age is appropriate to building skyscrapers, selling oil and having more energy than we know what to do with, bringing manufacturing back to the United States, and great nations continue to push the frontiers of exploration. You could get the sense of this entire vision for America prior to the inauguration with the discussions about Greenland. I mean, put aside the details of it and whether it happens or not. Just the idea that the country would be in growth mode is almost after 40, 50 years of being told how much less we have and how much we're going to have to eat bugs and no more steak for you, and you're going to drive your electric car to your ranch, and it's like, no, we're not doing any of those things. We're going to do big things, and we're going to do them bigly. And I thought I actually thought that almost what he was going to say, is that we're going to carry that flag and we're going to plant it on the surface of Mars. We're going to do it bigly. The Simpsons got it right. What is it? A large spirit embiggens the smallest man, and
yes.
and I think the great embiggening is just beginning.
I think you're right. I hope you're right, but mostly I think you're right. That can-do spirit is Scotty, it's always here. It's just sometimes it gets tamped down by bad leadership, and then good leadership, I think, just unleashes it. And yet, when I wrote about this yesterday for PJ Media, I just wrote this really impassioned little column, and most of my readership chimed in, yeah, we're going to Mars. But then after a couple of hours, the naysayers came in and saying, well, we have all these other problems we have to fix here on Earth before we can be going to Mars. And Scott, I maintain that is the attitude that causes countries to be small and not great.
Amen, brother.
Absolutely. And let me just say to those people, do you know how many jobs are created by a spacefaring civilization? Have you any idea what happens on Earth when you start to intend to go to Mars? The Mars is not just a planet, it's a market. Mars is a boost to our industrial production capabilities. Mars means thousands upon thousands of new jobs. it transforms the civilization. You know, it was when the pioneers left the old sod and came to what became, North America, they had needs, and those needs were supplied initially almost completely by the old sod, and for many years going into the future, until we develop capabilities on this soil to be able to produce much of our own needs, but we still are a huge market for the rest of the world. And if you can get that through your head and you can say, well, what do we have? Problems on Earth? Poverty? What remedies poverty very effectively? Work. Work is a very effective remedy for poverty. Well, you say, well, there are some people who can't work. You know what happens when people work? They pay into the social systems that support people who can't work. Everything gets better when you have a frontier. Everything gets better. It's not just some fantasy of a distant planet. The moon, Mars, and whatever lies beyond them is a boon for the people on this planet, and specifically for those who are bold enough to grasp the opportunity first.
Can I just add to that? Because I think that was really profound.
Yeah.
Just think about what the world would be like without the discovery of the New World. I think how poor Europe would be if back on the old sod they hadn't launched these expeditions to colonize the New World, and then those colonists in the New World basically in 1776 told those guys back at the old sod to just sod off, and now we're gonna kickstart this machine and run it on our own. And I'm sure that's what's going to happen with Mars as well.
You know, Bill, think of it this way. Christopher Columbus was Italian, but he couldn't get work in Italy doing what he wanted to do. So he went to Spain, where the leadership had vision, and look today where Spanish is spoken, and look today where Italy is spoken, or Italian is spoken, rather.
Yep, exactly.
It's a big deal. And I want English, I want American English to be spoken not just in this country, but throughout the solar system. We can do this. And I'm so glad Scott brought up frontiers, because I want to talk about this for a moment. The frontier, we didn't just tame North America, but the frontier helped shape us. There was a give and take between the people and the land. We reformed the land, and it shaped our national character. And we lost something when we closed the frontier in 1893, was the year the frontier was declared closed. We lost something. And I think it's no coincidence that progressivism, which is the only uniquely American form of statism, that progressivism took root in our national psyche at around the same time we closed the frontier. Yep. It's almost as though once we tamed the frontier, we set about the business of taming one another instead. And there's no good to come from that. We're not a tameable people. That's not who we are, to borrow a phrase from a really un-American guy I can't stand. But that said, this opens up a new frontier. This is what gets those American juices going. It's not just about the economic benefits that Scott was talking about. It's about us shaping another world, having a new world to explore. And, President Kennedy called space the new frontier, and it was also probably Donald Fagen's greatest solo song after Steely Dan. But we need frontiers. And Donald Trump and Elon Musk are opening up the biggest frontier imaginable. It doesn't matter what problems we have here on Earth. Not really. Not in that sense. Let's get out there. Let's do this. Whew. Wow. All right. That's your right angle on that. Brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Maybe from Mars.